Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. It's April, so of course it's time for the start of the County Championship season. In our preview, we'll go through where we think each team will finish in Division 1 and chat about the promotion candidates and dark horses in Division 2. So subscribe if you're new to the channel and let us know your season predictions in the comments below. It'd be great to read those. So Kat, it's that time of year again, as I say. We actually did quite well with our predictions last year. We were level on points, the two of us, a dead eight. So let's see if there's going to be a clear winner for the 2026 predictions competition for the channel. So, right, let's start off at the bottom. So in 10th place, I've gone for one of the promoted teams at Glamorgan. I don't feel they have the strength and depth to get enough wins personally. Sam Northeast is left. He's joined Kent. Ace of Tribe is, it's been talked about for England honours. So, be interested to see how he gets on in Division 1 this season. James Harris has retired. They won't have Marnus Labuschagne around this year. So I think it'd be quite tight at the bottom. I don't see any team being cut adrift like Worcester were last year. But I feel that, yeah, Glamorgan will go straight back down this season. So who have you got at bottom of the pile?
So 10th, I've got Sussex in 10th because I think they're starting the season -12. There's quite a lot going on at the club behind the scenes. So a fair amount of financial issues there. So starting the season on -12, I think puts them on an automatic handicap to start with. Um, but it's one of them is that if they get off to a good start, they get one or two wins early and kind of claw that back. They could start to push up the table. But I think that kind of like -12 point start, it puts them at quite a significant disadvantage. So so I don't disagree with you. So I think that Glamorgan will probably also struggle a bit as well. Um, as you say, I think they're lacking a little bit in their bowling attack to start with. Um, I think they may struggle to bowl teams out. Um, so say Ace of Tribe looks a very talented player, but who knows that he might not play much this year if England kind of get their claws on him, and he's playing Test cricket during the summer. So it'll be an interesting one. Um, we're back to touch on Sussex again. I've got, I mean, they've got some talented. They've got a talented squad there in terms of the bowling attack. There's like Ollie Robinson is going to have the bit between his teeth this year. He's also captain. If he has a good year, he might get them a couple of wins. Jofra might play a bit of red ball cricket this year if he can stay fit, but that's a big if. Um, other than that, it might be a struggle for them, but who knows? Who knows?
Yeah, that's the beauty of predictions, mate. No one really knows today.
Uh,
So, all right. So,
exactly.
who else have you got in the relegation spot in ninth place?
Yeah, so I've got Glamorgan down there. So I think they're going to struggle to bowl teams out. It doesn't seem to be a lot of quality in their bowling attack, um, especially in the seam bowling. A couple of handy seamers, like Van der Gooten and Andy Galvin, kind of like they're quite honest, good, honest county pros, but there doesn't seem to be anyone there that's with the seam attack that's really is probably going to take regular wickets. They brought in a couple of Australian seamers. I think it's Nathan McAndrew and Ryan Hadley, who are both quite highly rated in the Sheffield Shield. But I think they're only there for the first few games of the season, so they will need to have a big impact if Glamorgan are really going to compete. Um, as I say, yeah, I can't see them winning too mmany games as well. I hope I'm proved wrong, but unfortunately, yeah, I think they just might struggle to bowl teams out.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't disagree with that, mate. So to join
Yeah.
Glamorgan, I think it'll be Hampshire. They really struggled last year, and if it weren't for Durham's implosion on the last day, they would have actually gone down. And I think it could be another tough season for the team based at the Ageas Bowl. They've signed Jake Lehman on the UK passport without the help in their batting stocks, but I think the same as last year without James Vince, leadership skills and his obviously batting ability was a huge miss for them. They really dropped off, and I don't see them really bouncing back to where they were. And I think it could be another tough season. So I think, as I say, I think it'll be close between a few teams. But this year, I just think Hampshire might, unfortunately for them, might go down this season. So let's move up to eighth place. So just avoided relegation. I've gone for the other promoted team in Leicestershire. Unfortunately, they're going to be missing Peter Hanscom. Announced recently he won't be playing this year for personal reasons. So hopefully he's all okay. But in as a sort of a batting replacement, albeit he's an opener, is the Aussie, his fellow Aussie, Jake Weatherald. Obviously played in the recent Ashes, struggled a little bit in that series, but his record for Tasmania and the Sheffield Shield the last few seasons has been mega. So if he can get anywhere near that form for the Midlands team, I think he's only playing the first block of games. What's that, 6 games, is it? So yeah, if he could get a couple of tons, get Leicester off to a couple of quick wins, which they did in Division Two last year, then yeah, I think they might just stay up. They've got some other good signings: Stephen Eskenazi, Johnny Tattershaw, Josh Davey as well. It'd be interesting to see what happens with Rain Ahmed. In terms of his form, can he convert that from last year into Division One? But also, will he play for England in the Test arena? Obviously, the spinning spot is up for grabs, like a lot of spots in England Test team this summer. So, but yeah, I've just got Leicester to stay up in eighth for this season. Who have you got in eighth place?
Yeah, I completely agree with you on that one. I think Leicester, we've got quite a strong batting lineup. They've recruited quite well. They've recruited a few kind of experienced kind of county pros over the off season, sort of the end of last season as well. He's touched on Eskenazi, Johnny Tattersall, Josh Davey, Ben Green has kind of joined them as well. So they've got some like real experience in there. To say that the bowling attack looks a little lacking in star quality, so they may not bowl too many teams out, but their batting lineup quite look quite solid. So I think they'll probably get enough decent point scoring draws to kind of keep them out of trouble. Um, yeah, so obviously losing Hanscom is their captain as well is a big miss, and he performed pretty well last year as well. So I think Ian Holland is taking the reins for the first half of the season. So obviously that's something else to kind of factor into it too as well. As you say, Rayan Ahmed, um, if he gets to play regularly for Leicester, then he could be influential again, especially with the ball. But if he does get called up to England duty, I think, and I think a fair few people would like to see that as well. I think he's probably deserving of an opportunity to certainly in with a shout for the spinner spot there. Um, then I think they're probably lacking in that kind of slow bowling option behind him. Um, but yeah, I agree. I think they've probably got enough about them in order to stay out of trouble this season.
Yeah, absolutely. It'd be just to see how both teams get on. Glamorgan and Leicester, but haven't been in the
Yeah.
top division. Well, I don't even know if they have since the changing, the splitting of the tables. I'm not even sure. That's how long ago it's been. So, it's just to see how they both get on. Both get on this season. So, right, it's your turn, mate. For who have you got in seventh?
So I've got Hampshire in seventh. So I think we're not too far off with each other there. So it's like, yeah, a bit of a struggle last season. Red ball cricket doesn't seem to be their speciality. Um, I think they've still got some quality in there. Obviously, Liam Dawson, one of the most consistent and um, red ball cricketers in the country. Jake Lehman, that looks a very interesting signing. He could add some quality and experience into that batting lineup. I think this looked a little lacking at times last season in terms of a little bit of quality there. So he's had a reasonable year. Actually his last 2 or 3 years in Shield cricket have been pretty solid, and he's been one of like South Australia's best players. So, South Australia just won the Sheffield Shield again this recently. So he'd be an interesting addition to that side. It's obviously experienced player, leadership experience as well. So he could help some of those younger players there. With the ball, I think they still rely a lot on Carl Abbott. But if he stays fit, he's an exceptional performer for Hampshire. Around him will be interesting. It'd be good, interesting to see if John Turner plays a reasonable amount of red ball cricket this year. Sonny Baker as well. So there's a couple of talented seamers there, but if they're kind of physically robust enough to kind of play regular red ball cricket will be the issue. So I don't think they're going to pull up any trees, but they probably won't be in trouble this year either.
Yeah, that was it. Interesting to see how they get on. So in seventh place, I've gone for Sussex. Now, if Sussex struggled last season, I would have put them in the relegation, and I can see why you've picked them and a few others. I've tipped them for relegation with the points deduction, and obviously what's going on behind the scenes. But I think purely the quality of their team, the fact they finished fourth last season, and they've still got a very strong team. It'd be very interesting to see how Ollie Robinson does as a skipper for the first time. He's had a couple of okay seasons by his very high standards. This could lead. We were saying this about Johnny Bairstow last year. How will he get on? He did okay, Bairstow, but with Robinson, again, the England bowling, we're crying out for a controlling seamer, and if he gets his finger out and shows leadership ability and durability, like you said with those Hampshire bowlers, yeah, I think if he gets 50, 60 wickets plus, he'll get called up quite easily, in my opinion. So there's him, and then obviously they've got the overseas pros who were there last year, Dan Hughes, Unad Cat as well. They did pretty well last year. James Cole's was in that big bidding war in the 100 recently, the 100 auction. Tom Haynes is a solid opener. John Simpson's getting better and better. He's the club captain, but isn't the on-field captain. So I think he'll have another strong season. So obviously Paul Firebrace, he's done that running cry recently. It's now or never for this team, and yeah, this could strengthen them, or it can absolutely implode at Sussex. It's really hard to say at the moment, and will players leave in the summer? It's a bit up in the air, but I think if they get off to a solid enough start, get a couple of early wins, get rid of the if they get on positive points quite quickly, then yeah, I think they could climb the table. I think the top half's probably a bit beyond them, but I think I've got them to get clear of relegation, for certain. But a number of clubs have been under the fall, like I think Middlesex and Lancashire, where old pros, have called for changing the executive teams, and obviously Sussex are one of them. So Matt Pryor amongst a number of players who have called for change. So yeah, off the field it's a bit of a car crash at Sussex, but on the field, I think they just should be just okay, in my opinion. Right, let's move up to more of a mid-table obscurity. So I've gone for Yorkshire in sixth place. They did decently in their first stint back in Div 1, obviously after relegation. They've got Jai Richardson, who's a serious bowler. He'd be around for the first 6 games. Logan Van Beek is a really astute signing. He did great at Leicester last year. They've got Sam Whiteman as well on a British passport signing, a bit like Jake Lehman. So yeah, that's averages in sort of mid to late 30s for Western Australia. So I think he'll fit in well. And then it's the youngsters, I think, are really exciting from a Yorkshire point of view. George Hill, James Wharton, and then you've got others, more experience in Jack White, rather. And then obviously got the England boys, Joe Root, Harry Brook. They'll probably play the odd game. Obviously, they'll strengthen any team, wouldn't they? So, and obviously you got Bairstow's probably his England days are probably behind him. So he's obviously still a very good player. So obviously Adam Lyth. Forgot about Adam Lyth. I know he had another brilliant season last year. So yeah, I mean, yeah, I think they'll just improve, but you never know with Yorkshire. They get on a roll. You just never know. They might be dark horses, but I think I've got them in sixth anyway, just to be safe. So who have you got in sixth then, mate?
Yeah, well, great minds obviously think alike, so I've got them in sixth as well. So um, yeah, as I say, I think the batting lineup has kind of added a little bit more experience this year. There's Sam Whiteman in there. As I say, he's a good, solid pro in the Sheffield Shield. For Western Australia over the years, I think he's got a little bit of county experience. I think he's played the Northanks before, or something like that, and did quite well. Um, yeah, so he's had a little bit of experience there. Johnny Bairstow, last time I checked, he didn't appear to have an IPL deal, so he should be around a little bit more often. So he may not be missing as many games. Um, with him as skipper as well. So yeah, that's a big plus for them as well. Jai Richardson signing for the first block of games. If he stays fit, he could be a real handful. He's quick and he moves the ball as well. Early season conditions, he could pick up an absolute sackful if he stays fit. And as you say, yeah, they've got some really good youngsters in down there as well. There's George Hill, McRevis, and one or two others down there that look quite promising. So yeah, they'll be. I think they'll agree that they'll be comfortable mid-table this year. With a fair win behind them, who knows? They could push slightly higher, but I think that what for right now, looking at all the other squads, I think they fit quite nicely into that mid-table position. Yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Okay, right. So who have you got bang in the middle of the table in fifth place?
So in fifth, I've got Warwickshire. So I think they've recruited quite well over the winter. And obviously, Chris Wokes available again all season as well. He'll be huge for them. So like new ball and and a really good batter in there, about 7 or 8 as well. So it'll be a huge injection of quality into their bowling attack there if he can stay fit this season. They've also signed Nathan Gilchrist, who's been with the England Lions as well. I think he played a couple of games for Warwickshire on loan at the end of last season as well. So he looks a handy bowler. Keith Barker has re-signed for them as well. Really experienced county pro, usually very reliable, picks up wickets and also kind of decent lower order batter as well. Yeah, Bo Webster is the overseas signing for the first block of championship. I think it's the first block of championship games as well. So they've made some real good signings in there. They've changed captaincy as well. Alex Davis stepped down. Ed Barnard taken over. Alex Davis is, I think, he's one of the most underrated players in the county circuit with the bat. He's like regularly churns out runs, and I think his name doesn't really get mentioned for England honours too often. But he's that kind of. I think he's a bit like a counter. He's one of them kind of counter-attacking, kind of positive type of openers that England have liked over the years, recent years, and it's strange not to have seen him mentioned in those kind of circles. But yeah, he stepped down to the captaincy to focus on his batting. So if he could have a real breakout year again, yeah, I think I've, yeah. So I've got them in fifth. Yeah, because of how they've recruited over the year and a much stronger bowling attack, they did struggle to bowl out teams as well over the year. Last year, Edgbaston at times can be quite flat. And obviously adding a little bit of quality there, they might sneak a couple more wins and kind of push up that table a little bit more.
Yeah, no, I agree with everything you said. We've gone again, and I've got Warwickshire in fifth as well. So yeah, I think
Respect.
no, I think so. Yeah, Chris Wokes, obviously a serious player. To have him fit for the whole season, fit and available. That's only going to help. Obviously, the Bears with the ball and obviously with the bat as well. Yeah, no, and I think as long as amongst those signings, I think Jordan Thompson as well from Yorkshire. I think that's a seriously That's a
Yeah,
seriously underrated signing. He's a very
yeah,
underrated player. Obviously, not quite good
yeah,
enough for England, but he's more than good enough for County Championship Division One cricket. With the
yeah,
ball, and he's handy with the bat as well. Bo Webster, as we know, is a serious Test cricketer. He's played a lot of county cricket, and he did at Warwickshire last year, done well. He only played a few games, but done really well in the averages from memory. So yeah, I think they look really strong, Warwickshire. And yeah, if they can, I think they relied on Sam Hain and Ed Barnard a little bit with the bat last year. So if like you mentioned about Davies and maybe a couple others, if they can chip in with some more runs, things are looking good for Warwickshire for this season. So yeah, we've got them both of us got them in fifth. So right, let's move into the top four. So fourth position, I've gone for our team. I've gone for Essex. So bit of a transition season for our team last year, but I think we could be dark horses for the title. It weren't too long ago since we won the title. Vian Mulder is a top signing. The South African. Nearly broke the world record for the highest Test score.
yeah.
Obviously last year. But yeah, he's a very very good player. Strengthens our bat, and you look at our top order of Elgar, Walter, Wesley, Mulder. Uh, who else? Who else? And we've got Charlie Allison, who's filled in at the top of the order, but he's obviously more of a middle order player. Then add in obviously the usual suspects: Simon Harmer, Shane Snate, and obviously I think Sam Cook's, as long as he's over his injury troubles, will play more this season. I think his England days, sadly, are probably going to be behind him. And yeah, we would, Essex, we know how to get it done in Division One, don't we? Obviously, under Chris Silverwood for his second season back. So, mate, I don't know about you, but I mean, whether you tipped him for fourth, maybe a bit higher, but I think Essex could have a serious run if we get off to a good start. So, but I've gone there. I've gone slightly safe. I've gone for Essex in fourth. So, what are your thoughts on the fourth place?
Well, I've got Somerset in fourth. So they're kind of perennial, kind of top half kind of side, or generally kind of top three or four. You've got a strong side, generally kind of able to kind of get results. Obviously, Taunton being quite a result heavy pitch as well, kind of like taking spins. Like Jack Leach as well down there. He's good for me. He's the best red ball spinner in the country. Um, they haven't really made any kind of real major signings domestically. James Rue there is serious player, and they've got some real quality in that side as well. It's often just kind of flies under the radar for England as well. So like Tom Abel and Lewis Gregory and Craig Overton. Seems like his England days are behind him as well, but he's a real top county performer as well. So they're always a side that kind of able to kind of get results and kind of are in that they're in the conversation. It's like, but always perennially seem to be the bridesmaids and never the bride in terms of the county championship. So so I've got them in fourth. Um, always strong and they always compete.
Yeah, no, absolutely, mate. Right, so let's move into the top three. Who have you got in third?
So I've got the Essex boys in third. So obviously a lot of what you just mentioned there. Always strong in red ball cricket. Ian Mulder I think is an exceptional overseas signing. He's a bat and ball. If one thing that Essex have kind of lacked for the past couple of years or so or more is a seam bowling all rounder, and he kind of ticks both boxes. His style of bowling. He's kind of made for English conditions, especially early season. That kind of a fast medium, hits top of off, just nibbles it about a little bit. He could be a handful, and he's a quality bat. He knows how to get big scores. So I think he could be, he could be that kind of one of them missing links in the Essex side. So Sam Cook as well. I think he's fit and he's kind of back available for the season. he's going to have the bit between his teeth. I probably disagree slightly. I think he's probably not out of the England reckoning just yet, especially with the winter that England have just had, and with spots being available. If he has a good start to the season, stays fit, he could well be in that shout for the new ball. With the first test of the summer, I think he was name checked by Rob Key in that recent press conference as well. So I certainly don't think he's out of the running now. I think he's only 28 or something, so he's got his time's on his side. Um, so if he has a strong start, he could be in the contention. Then you chuck in kind of Jamie Porter, kind of very reliable new ball bowler in the county championship. Simon Harmer, what more can you say about him? Guy's just a legend, isn't he? So he's just can't believe it's been 10 years or something. He's been at Essex now. He's part of the furniture now, and he's just been incredible. I think you don't often see those kind of long term connections with overseas players these days, and he's the fact that he's come back year after year and continued to perform. It just says everything about the guy as a cricketer and also as a person. So he'll continue to be influential. In chucking someone like Matt Critchley as well. Again, flies under the radar, but he's a very solid county performer with bat and ball. It's interesting to see Charlie Allison this year. Showed real flashes of potential with the bat. So interesting to see where he fits into the side, whether he'll fit in that 4 or 5 slot. I think that might depend on where Mulder fits in. Dean Elgar back at the top of the order, fantastic player. And him and big tall Paul at the top. Tall Paul had a real kind of good year as an opener last year. So I think Essex will be very solid. They'll be certainly in with a shout. So I've got them in third.
Yeah, no, good stuff, mate. Right, so we've swapped our third and fourth places. So I've got Somerset in third. So yeah, no, can't really add too much to what he said. I think he summed up really well. Obviously, the Root brothers are absolutely outstanding. I think obviously James is probably lined up for an England spot, possibly even this summer. So if he has a good start, then he could well be in the Test team. But yeah, they've still got Jack Leach, as you said, Archie Vaughan. The spin duo down there. Obviously, Craig Overton, really solid player. Got Pretorius back as well as the overseas. He done well last year, so he knows how to pick up wickets and some handy runs down the order. So yeah, I think they'll be strong again. They're always challenging, aren't they? So I see it being no different this time around. So I've got the Southwest team in third place. So let's move into runners up. So I've gone for last year's winners. I've gone for Nottinghamshire as runners up. So Josh Tongue is now century contracted. So whether we'll see him too much this year, we'll find out. But they've got Ferguson Neil back for the first half of the summer, as well as Pakistan's Mohammed Ali for the second half of the year. They obviously now need Hasiba Mead to lead from the front and score runs again, which I think I'll back him to do. I think he should be England's Test opener. So if he has a good start, then he might not be around for Notts this year. But Culver-Rain's back. He hit the winning runs on last year, and had a very solid season with the gloves. And I think he got around 500 or maybe even exactly 500 runs last year. So a very good. Important runs down there from the South African, and a great decision from Notts' point of view is Ben Duckett. He withdrew from IPL contention, so I think his place personally shouldn't be under threat, but for England, but yeah, he'll be playing the first block of games at the very least. So obviously he's an outstanding player, so that's only going to help the champions. Certainly in the first half of the year. So yeah, I've just got Notts to finish second. I don't think something you just don't know with county championship winners, they might win it and then they end up struggling the next season. I don't see it under the leadership of Peter Moores and the players that I've just said. So who have you got in second?
I think we've colluded on this because I've got Notts as well. So but honestly, we haven't. You know, we've done this independently. So yeah, I think for all the reasons you've just said as well. Um, they've lost Mohamed Abbas, but you know, Fergus O'Neill is a hell of a signing. They got him for a little bit longer this year. I think pretty much the first half. Um, you know, he's been tearing it up in Sheffield Shield cricket for the past few years. I think he averaged something about 20 with the ball. You know, I think he's not far away from an Australian Test call up. I think for any other nation, he probably would have played Test cricket by now. But he's going to be a real handful with the ball. Yeah, with as you say, with Josh Tongue being centrally contracted, how many games he plays will be interesting to see. Um, so, but they look solid all round. So you say Hamid, you know, he could get that call up. He's been very heavily talked about, you know, which is usually a sign. Um, you know, the more media chat that a player gets, the closer they probably are to selection, and he's getting quite a lot of it. Um, so he's had two exceptional years in the championship last couple of years. He seems to have expanded his game, so and it goes back to a different mindset now to looking to score instead of just survive, which was the previous criticism of his. He's overly defensive when he plays, but I think he's got a much better strike rate now, and he's much better rotating strike and scoring scoring runs now. So I think he's in for a real shout. So, but if he doesn't, and he plays the season with Notts, and then him and Ben Slater was very solid top order combination, and then you chuck Ben Duckett in there playing probably the first few. Um, so it will be a real kind of boon, not just to Notts, but I think to the championship as a whole. You know, so taking an example for an England player to say, look, I want to go play county cricket rather than, you know, want to go and play T20 or IPL. It's understandable if players choose to go and play that, but it's, you know, for cricketing reasons, I think the red ball game is builds the foundation of a cricketer. So for him to come back and say, I want to play championship cricket, you know, sends a real good message out to the rest of his teammates, and to take it seriously as well, and to admit that there are things he needs to work on, and that's I wouldn't be surprised to see him score a hat full of runs in that first block of games. So so yes, I think Notts will be strong, and they'll definitely be up there. You say Culverane, um, he's a very astute overseas signing. You don't see many wicket keepers signed as overseas players. He's been very influential there. Good with the bat, excellent gloveman. Um, Muhammad Ali, I think he's a bit of a, you know, not much is known about him. I think Paul Franks knows him quite well from his days in the PSL. So it'll be interesting to see how he does in the back half. Um, but yeah, I think they're set up well for the season.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think no, we'll go close again. So obviously we've both gone for Surrey to win the title this season.
Yeah.
So why have you got? I mean, it's quite obvious why, but what reason in particular have you gone for the Surrey outfit to win?
Well, you look at their squad. It's you know, they've got a big squad. It's packed full of quality players. You know, they're going to have their England players back for the first block of games. So they haven't really signed anyone kind of domestically. So they've got Sean Abbott coming back as they're overseas. But you know, you look at them, you, you go from 1 to 11 in that team. And it's just full of international quality. So you got lots of Ollie Pope's going to be coming back into the side, and he's going to. He's probably not going to get back into the Test team immediately. He might, if he has a strong start, he might push in the second half if there's an injury or two, something like that. But he's going to be come back into that side. Always does well when he plays county cricket. Always scores runs. Jamie Smith, coming in with a point to prove as well. He got some quite deserved pelters in the over the winter, but hopefully that'll be a learning experience for him, and he'll come in with a point to prove. Um, and then you just look at the bowling attack. So Gus Atkinson, so he how good he can be. He's done it at test level. He's done well at first class cricket as well. So he'll come in. He wanted to kind of prove a couple of people wrong, and then got like Dan Worrell, and who's like a fantastic bowler. Ben Folkes, Rory Burns, Dom Sibley. Dom Sibley's one of them. He's kind of pushing for that England spot. I think it could be quite close between him and Hamid, who they, to replace Crawley. It looks like Crawley's spot is the one that's on the line, and deservedly so, I would say. But they're just a team kind of dripping in quality all the way through. They've got a huge budget and they spend it well. They've kind of got, I'll be surprised if anyone really pushes them that closely. I think even last year they didn't win it, but it was a real kind of like it was real close between them and Notts. It was effectively a shootout at the Oval, and that nudged in Notts' favour. So I think they're good as a collective. They're coming back with a real point to prove. So I wouldn't be surprised to see them kind of reclaim their throne.
Yeah, so I agree with everything you said, mate, about Surrey. They don't need to make any more signings, mate. They've got a big enough squad and quality as it is. I mean, just going through their squad, it's a joke how strong they are. Ben Folkes, Dan Lawrence, Dan Worrell, Dom Sibley, Gus Atkinson, Jamie Smith, Matthew Fisher. He had a good end to last year. Ollie Pope. Obviously, you think with Jacob Bethel being England's number 3, it's going to be a while before Pope gets back in. Well led by Rory Burns with the skipper, Sean Abbott. Yeah, they're just it's insane how strong they are. So and obviously Alex Stewart's back at the helm as well. So I think as you said, they only lost that one game to obviously the eventual champions not. So I think they're still the team to beat for me. So I think it's I think it'll be a tight race again like last year, but I think Surrey this time will come out on top for this season. Right, so there's our thoughts on Division 1. We'll touch on Division 2 quickly in terms of the promotion candidates and possible dark horses for promotion. So, what teams do you think will go up automatically?
I think Durham are the obvious choice. I think that I think it was a huge surprise when they got relegated last season. And the squad doesn't seem to have changed too much from last year to this year. So they've signed a couple of young seamers, and obviously they've brought in Kemar Roach as well for that first half of the season. So he's really high class bowler. The new ball should do well. David Bedingham back there. Ben Stokes is probably going to play a few games as well, especially in that first half. I expect them to be real strong favourites. They're a really strong batting lineup. Alex Lees, Emilio Gay. He's another one that's kind of pushing for that test openers slot. He's kind of looks a real good player. So there's a lot of quality in that team. Whereas Matt Potts, he's going to go back to county cricket with a point to prove. Especially he had a real poor showing in the Ashes when he finally got his chance. Didn't really show what he can do. He's gone back and he's gone back to. I think he's kind of going back to kind of basics now with his approach. I think he's kind of looking to kind of he'd lost that ability to swing the ball, so if he gets that back, he's going to get a lot of wickets in Division 2. There tends to be more result pitches in Division 2. Obviously, teams pushing for promotion. So I think, yeah, Durham are the obvious favourites to go up. So yeah,
Yeah, I mean they shouldn't have got relegated last year, and they absolutely threw it
yeah,
away in the last game. If it was against Yorkshire, and when only needs to the bat. I don't not even a day, was it? Oh, I don't even know what it was ridiculous
yeah,
anyway. So
yeah,
yeah, I think they'll yeah, they're obviously there, as you rightly said, they're heavy favourites to get promoted, and yes, got some quality players still. So yeah, and no, glad you said that about Matt Potts, because you had an okay season in the county championship last year, and yeah, if he gets back to playing, as he did a few years ago when he first broke into the England team, he's gonna take a stack loads of weeks in the Division Two, and he's going to have to if he's going to get anywhere near the England setup for this
yeah,
year. So, yeah, Emilio Gage, you said, and I think is David Beddenham, is he back again this year as well?
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
so, I expect him to get obviously a lot of runs when he plays. And Kemar Roach, that's a ridiculously good signing. He's been
yeah.
tearing out for Surrey for a number of years. So it was a big shock when I saw the news about Kemar Roach a few weeks ago. So yeah, I think it'd be a major shock if don't get promoted. Who else have you got? I've got Lancashire to be one of the candidates as well. Obviously, Marcus Harris is a seriously good player. He's played for Lancashire and other teams uh, in the UK for a while. So he's obviously this standard. He's obviously a top player. Got Jimmy Anderson, the skipper for this year. Um, yeah, again, a bit of upheaval last year, and I think they're still a little bit behind the scenes in terms of ex players wanting change at the top. But yeah, we'll see how it goes with Lancashire. I think they've got a great chance under. I think they're under Stephen Croft, the new coach. So be interested to see how he gets on. So yeah, in terms of dark horses, I've got Derbyshire actually as a dark horse. They finished third last year under obviously the leadership of Mickey Arthur. But yeah, I think they've got the Shoaib Bashir. He I think his England days are behind him for now. He needs to focus on just playing more regularly. And his county championship record is absolutely awful, isn't it? So he needs to
God, yeah,
improve that,
yeah,
and hopefully with new lease of life at a different county under a different coach, playing week in week out over that will help him. But one of the signings of the season is not only Keeman Roach for Durham, but Mohamed Abbas for Derbyshire. Again, stunned by that news when I saw that. So he's torn it up for Hampshire and Notts recently, and for him to drop down to Division Two. I mean, he takes a stack load of wickets in Division One, let alone Division Two. They'll get nowhere near him. So, and you got obviously Wade Madsen as well, who's he keeps churning out runs, doesn't he? So, yeah, I think they done well last year, and I think they could go close again for promotion. Derbyshire. Who are your dark horses?
Well, I'm actually predicting Derbyshire to kind of go up and kind of finish second. So
Oh, right,
exactly the
right.
same reason as well.
Yeah,
I think they finished third last year. Mohamed Abbas could be that difference maker for him to kind of extra strength with the ball, kind of nudge him over the line in games. Shoaib Bashir, interesting to see how he goes as well, as you say. Um, so I've dark horses. I think it's probably kind of pretty much a bit of a wild card. Northants look at quite an interesting side as well under Darren Lehman. Um, so I wouldn't be surprised if they improve on last year and they push up there. We've got some real interesting players at Safe Zabe. Top. I think he was the top first class run scorer in the country last year. It was harsh for him not even get like a Lions call up or something. Um, and then you've got Calvin Harrison as well. Looks he's one with a little bit of talent down there. Um, so they look at. I think that if on their day, if they get it right and they avoid injuries, they could push up there.
they've got McSweeney
So
as well.
yeah, McSweeney, they've got him for the season, I think, as well. So I think he's got a point to prove as well to try and force his way back into the Australian side. So I think he could have a good season, score a lot of runs now.
Yeah, absolutely right. Well, Yeah, all to play for, obviously, not only for the counties, but obviously in our predictions competition, which everyone's, I'm sure, everyone's talking about. We've got to have a clear winner this year, Kat. We've got. But saying now, our predictions are quite similar for Division One, so we might be tied again.
Yeah, we've got to stop copying each other, haven't we?
Yeah.
So Division Two could be the decider here, I think. So
No,
yeah,
yeah, that's it. All right, nice. Well, cool. Thanks for your time, mate, and we'll see how the see how predictions go for this year, and especially this first block of fixtures. I think will be a very good watch, especially with a lot of England places up for grabs. So we'll see how the players get on this year. So thanks for your time. So thanks everyone for watching. Subscribe if you're new. Let us know your season predictions in the comments below. It'd be great to read those. We'll see you soon, and bye for now.
cheers. Bye.